afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. We're going to work again today on our envelope book. Again, this is the flamingo book that I'm using as my example, but of course I'm doing things differently. Today we're working on the second page spread, which has more of the tags that we made in the last session. So I'm going to add the tags when we're done, but we're not going to actually make them here. This also has a small pocket. It has some lace, some fabric, and some postage stamps. We're going to talk about that today too. It also has a little collage here. That's what we're going to do today. So let's look at our Peacock book that we started. And I'm still not satisfied with this cover. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we're going to look back at it later. This is our first spread, and I've added something I'm going to talk about today. We did all of these tags in the last session, and today we're going to talk about these. These are little specimen windows, and I've stuck one in this pocket, which is what you would do with it. We're going to make those, but not in this session. That'll be in our next session. So today we're going to work on decorating these pages. Now, I came up with some things to use. Some of these are going to be things that I can direct you to buy, and other of these are found objects that I already had. And we're just going to look at them. I know you won't have the same objects, but this might give you an idea of something you could use. We're going to use a piece of this wrapping paper, this needle wrapping paper. I don't know where it was bought from or what I even got in it, but we're going to use it. We're going to use this stencil, which I believe came from the Dollar Tree. We're going to use this stencil. We're going to use a couple of images from my digital download set for Peacocks, and we're going to use a piece from a book. This was a book on The Gardener's Companion, an old book I had that I tore some pages out of, and we're going to use maybe this image right here. So, to get started, the first thing I want to do is some stenciling. And you may have this exact stencil, you may not. Again, when I do these, just think of what you have that you would use. Don't think, what do I have to go out and buy? Think what you already have. This was from probably a few years ago. I'm going to lay this down, but I do not want to get this one on my image. So what I'm going to do is take just another piece of paper, and I'm going to lay it there underneath that one, so that when I do this one, I don't accidentally get the next one on my paper too. Making sure not to get my paper underneath there. And I'm just going to go along, hold this down, and just dab over it with my ink blender. And this is going to be a very subtle decoration that will go underneath everything else on the page. And see, I'm just dabbing it. I'm holding this down. You can lightly glue your stencils down. I just don't. This even has sticky paper on the back, so you can glue it down while you're using it. But I just don't do that. I just hold it down. And see, now we have this cute little image. I think I'm going to do this second one over here. And there's nothing else real close to this one, so I'm not going to use any blocking paper. And I'm just going to put down another edge. Now let's see what we've got. We've got two subtle little leaves or feathers. I thought that would make a good base. And then I decided to do this, and I thought maybe I would do some things in advance so that we didn't have quite so many steps to do while we're working. So I fussy cut this edge out. I glued it to the back of a index card because I needed it a little sturdier. And then I just inked the edges. And this, I took my hole cutter and just lined it up, kind of centered it, and cut this little dip. And then I went back with my tool, and I just darkened my edges a little bit. Now, I'm going to put this on here. keeping in mind whatever I do, I've got to leave this area open. But I'm going to put this on here. I think it's too plain. So what I did is I cut out a piece of my wrapping paper that would fit in my book. And I thought, what if I used this wrapping paper, but what if I tucked it up underneath here so that it would go in and cover inside there? Did I like that? So I put it that way, and I didn't really like it. For one thing, I don't know that I wanted quite that much of it. So I thought instead what I would do, now I could go back and I could really use my ruler. I could check everything. But what I'm going to do, I think, just to do this edge, is I'm going to use my bone folder and just come into my gutter. That's what the center of your book is called, a gutter. And I'm just going to run my bone folder there to make a mark. I don't think I'm going to cover that part. I thought at first I would like that, but then I decided it was just too much. So I'm going to cut this right where I used my bone folder. I'm going to lay this right here. And maybe I'm going to put something else on that edge, maybe not. I haven't decided yet. I think I am going to darken the edges of this a little bit, just ink them. It already looks quite old. Now this again is a very shiny paper, and I'm sure you're seeing that it's putting some glare on the camera, I'm sure. But I'm not against using shiny papers in my journals. If it really bothers you, then use something that's not shiny, something that looks more antique. Another thing you can do is you can gently rub over it with your tool, your little blending tool, with a little bit of ink on it, not a lot, and I'm barely touching it to the surface, just slightly, and you can cut some of that glare off. Now see, it's still shiny. That maybe cuts a little of the glare. So now I'm going to put this right here. And the other thing I can do with this is I could use clear gesso. I could use clear gesso on top of this. That would cut that glare too. It would leave it with more of a matte finish. But what I'm going to do right now, I'm not going to glue here. I'm going to glue on here. And what am I going to use? There's my clear tacky gel glue. And I bet I didn't put my pen back in it. So I bet I'm going to have to fight to make it work today. No, I think not. It's actually good. Okay. Now I'm going to run some towards the edge. I'm not running it right on the edge. Again, if I ran it right on the edge, it would squeeze out and make a bigger mess than what I want. A lot of people will use hot glue for some of these things, and you can. I just think hot glue leaves a little lump, and I don't like it. So I don't use hot glue unless I'm doing something like maybe gluing down some lace. Now I'll put it right up against that edge. I'll lay it down. Let me get my little cloth here. And I use my same cloth every time until it's just disgusting, and then I change it. There, I'm getting that glue. I squeeze towards my edges. I do want my glue to come all the way to the edge, but I don't glue all the way to the edge because that glue puts a layer under there, and when you rub towards the edges, you're going to get the glue gently oozing out under your edges, and that gets your edges down well. Okay, now let's see about this. Yes, I like that. Do I like it by itself? I don't know. Let's try something else. This is some lace that came from one of my many forays to thrift shops. I actually think I bought this lace in North Carolina at well, it wasn't on what island was it on? It was on Cape Hatteras. That's where I bought it. And I may even let that stick out a little bit. I think I don't want it to come all the way to the edge, and I think I want to cut it at an angle because I don't want to cover up my little guy completely. I think I'm going to cut this at an angle so that the little leaves or the little feather can still show. I'm going to put it like this. Put this right here. Liking it, liking it, liking it, not completely. I've got another surprise over here. These wonderful feathers can be purchased in a lot of different places. These particular ones came from Hobby Lobby. And you see they have little spots on them. I think that Michael's has these too. I think I'm going to put these two feathers like this and then glue this on top of them. Do we like that? Yeah, I kind of like that. And I think I'm going to put in it one of my wonderful little peacock feather viewfinders. I think that's what I'm going to slide in here. We're going to make these in my next session, so we're going to talk about that a little more later. But I like that. Again, my own personal style is not to cover every inch of the page. I like to have pieces that shine that can be written on or journaled on. But we're going to put this on this side, and then I've got some more surprises for the other side. So we're going to start using our glue. Let's move these first. And let's do this. Now, out of necessity, when I use this glue on this lace, you know it's going to ooze through. So I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to let it dry before I actually put on the pocket piece. Because see, that's still quite wet and sticky. If I put this pocket piece and glued it right on top of this, what would happen? It would glue the pocket closed, and we wouldn't want that. So the pocket's going to go here, but I'm just going to use it to get a rough idea on where I want to put a little bit of glue, and I'm going to make this. This is somewhere you could use hot glue. Be honest with you, one of the reasons I don't use hot glue a lot is because I forget to turn it off, and then I find out 2 days later my glue gun looks nasty, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I could have burned our house down. I don't know if a hot glue gun could do that, but, you know, it would be my luck. So I'm going to glue these down. I'm going to stick them down a little bit, hold them there for a minute, and let them glue. I'm going to show you another trick I use to get things to glue down good. These little clips come from the Dollar Tree. You get 6 of them in a package. Every once in a while when I'm there and I see them, I get another one. They're great for clipping things down and holding them while you let them dry. And I think I'm going to move that one over just a little bit to get it under there. And that will help to let them dry. Now, they only work on the little edge, but that's okay. That looks good. Okay, now we're going to let this dry, and then eventually we're going to come back and slide this in right over the edge of them after that dries. Now we're going to come to this side and figure out what to do. I have this stamp that's really neat handwriting I could put right there. I also have some other stamps I could use. Let me pull out a couple. I have lots of flamingo stamps. This is a neat stamp. This one came from Michael's, I believe, or no, it was Hobby Lobby. I bought it on their clearance rack. I could put one of those in there or up here. That's a possibility. You can always use stamps to do things. I also have this neat handwriting stamp and this lovely stamp, which was another Hobby Lobby clearance rack. I love this stamp. I love the intricate detail, and I often use it. Don't know that I'm going to use it today, but it's a possibility. Let's look at this. Maybe. Well, I have some other things I want to use, and let me pull them up and show them to you. I've pulled out and fussy cut another piece, and I thought I might put a piece of my dictionary page and then put this, and I thought I might fussy tear this out and put it in up there and put this in on top of it, and maybe repeat a little bit of this lace over here too. So let's kind of tear this out and get everything laid out and see if I like it. And when I fussy tear something, another piece of paper we can use elsewhere, so we put that over in our little save basket. When I fussy tear something, I put my fingernail close to the edge, and I just tear close to the edge like this. I'm letting my fingernail kind of hold the spot that I'm tearing. And I'm not trying to get right to the edge. I just like that torn paper look myself. So I'm going to just keep going around the edge, little bit at a time. If it doesn't tear off as much as I want, I can always go back and tear off more later. And this is a fun way to collage because it bothers me in collage when you just have all these white, straight, cut edges around everything. So doing what I call fussy tearing is a way around that. So let's lay that aside. There's still an image on there we can use. Let's see, maybe, do we want even the whole sheet of this? Let's see, this and this. Maybe we don't want the whole sheet of that, because if we take the whole sheet, and I'm going to tear it at a point here, we would cover up all that lovely feather we did. So maybe if we do this, maybe out here like this, I don't know, let's try a couple of different things. And we drop this in. Do we like that? Is that enough color? How about if we take a little piece of this lace, and I'm going to cut it off straight here. We could put another piece of this lace completely up under there. How about if we put it all the way up under there? Or maybe if we put it on top of there. I don't know. We try both ways. I think I kind of like it better under there. This piece, maybe there. This piece here. You don't have to use, this is a Peacock book, but we don't have to use a peacock on every page. This piece is vertical. How about if we went horizontal? We put this piece like this. Even put that coming off there and the peacock coming there. Kind of like that. You know, I kind of maybe need something behind this peacock. We've got some scrap paper over here. I've got, this paper was purchased at Michael's. They had big bags of it in their little bargain section. You know, near the cash registers. Look at that. We could do that. We could do that. Do we like that? Is it too blingy? Thinking maybe I will tear it too. Ooh, and this doesn't want to tear because it is printed. There it goes. It is a printed paper. How about if we did this? Oh, I kind of like that. Do we like that? Something else. How about if this was inside there? And then this one was out here. Maybe we put this one going this way. And the peacock. Do we like that? I don't like this leaf. Maybe up there. Let's see. Up there. I don't like it upside down. Maybe up there. What do we think? And I've got these neat little glitter pieces. We could put some little glitter down here. That might be nice. We could also put, I've got another feather here. We could bring in another feather somewhere. Would that be too much? I think maybe the feather will be too much. Let's do this. I like this here. So we're going to go ahead and put a little glue on it. Put it in there. I think I might ink the edge just to take it down just a little bit. Also to accent that torn edge because I really like that torn edge. Do I like that better? I like that. The nice thing is you can do whatever you want. There is no right or wrong. Do what you like. And right now I'd like to stand this glue on its head and make it work better. Think I'm going to have to go see a hand doctor because the arthritis is getting so bad in my thumbs, it's getting real hard to squeeze things. Real painful to squeeze things. Now, I do not intend to stop doing what I do. Neither the journals or the painting or the weaving or any of the other wonderful things I do, because I'm attention deficit and I have to keep my brain busy at all moments. So I'm not going to give up anything, and if it hurts, it hurts, but maybe if I see a doctor, maybe there's something they can do. So we're going to try that. Now, do I want to use this? It's kind of an interesting look, but we've already got lace here. I don't think I'm going to. I do think I'm going to ink this edge because, again, I like that torn edge and I like to accent it. And again, that's a personal preference. If you don't like to ink your edges, or if you like to use a different color, then, you know, do what works for you. I'm just showing you what works for me. It may not be what you like. I think I like this piece better. And I think I'm going to do the edges of it too. Now, there are words here. So I am going to do that quick glance. Do I see anything, particularly the bold words, that would be, no, I don't see it. Well, there's nudity. Okay. Never know what you're going to find, but it doesn't bother me. I just want to make sure there's not something that's very upsetting for someone else. Come on. Yeah, not right at the edges, but close. Get the glue all over your hands as you're putting it down because, you know, why use glue if you're not going to make a mess, right? I also keep cloths here, and I keep baby wipes here for when I really make a mess. You know, I have something else up here that we might use. Let me pull it down. This is pretty neat. I have some neat washi tapes, and we're going to look at that in a minute. Maybe put this one here, up here. Maybe like that. Do we want to tuck it under the... But if we do like that, it kind of, the feather can kind of grow out of that. Let's try that. Again, shake, shake, shake the glue. One of the glues I like to use is a little glitter type glue that they have at Dollar Tree that comes in little bitty containers. They haven't had any at my Dollar Tree in a while, and I hope they get it back in because it's easy to squeeze. It works good, it sticks down well, but it's easy to squeeze. Now, some of you would be very worried about using a glue that is acid-free because you want your longevity of your books. I don't mind if mine age, and if my glue has acid in it and helps them to age, then so be it. But again, it becomes what you want. Now, we're going to slide our book back a little bit, come right here, shake the glue again. I have a glue stick that works real well, but I find glue sticks are not as permanent, and I don't like things to come back up later, so I don't often use them. Let's see, right there, maybe a little bit up, maybe, yeah, let's go right there. Okay, what do we think? Like that so far? It's a little plain up here. Do we want to leave it plain? There's a journaling spot. Little journaling spot right there, so I think we'll leave those. Now, I have this washi tape. I bought this through Amazon, and this tape looks like little stamps, and it's so pretty. One of them is all women in Paris and, you know, antique buildings. This one has coffee cups and knives and teacups, all kinds of things like that. This one has birds, butterflies. I actually found a peacock in it and used it one time. There's a little bumblebee. I'm not opposed to pulling this off to see what's underneath it, finding something I like, taking it off, and then putting the other back on, because each of these little stamps are different. And these do look like little postage stamps. I have one that's all about food and fruits and mushrooms and that kind of thing. Turned over so you can see it. And I have one that's flowers. And I think I'm going to use actually perfume bottles. And I think that's the one I'm going to use. One of them tore a little. Get it to come up. Come on, let's come up. Now, would I take that one and throw it out? No, you could still use that. After all, it's supposed to be reclaimed things, right? Maybe if I put a couple of stamps right there, how do we think? Let's tear these two off and see what they look like. I could do them. I love them. I could also use the stamps that came out of my digital kit. And I've got 3 of them over here. Let me pull them over here. I could use a couple of these. Kind of like those better. And then I have this stamp, and this is a stamp I made myself out of part of my digital kit, and I turned it into a postage stamp, and we're going to learn how to do that. Kind of like those two. What do you think? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay these others. I love this washi tape, but it's just not what I want for this book. I'm going to put it back in its bin and sit it back up. And we'll use it maybe next time. Okay, so maybe those two. Okay, let's try this. Okay, glue, let's get down there. I need to start leaving this glue upside down, don't I? So that it stays where I want it and I don't have to spend so much time working against gravity. Now this stamp is, as I said, it's a homemade stamp. You can make it with any scraps you have, any pictures you have. Works great when you've got little pictures. Do I want it here maybe? Yeah, maybe right there. I like things to overlap and just barely touch each other. Now remember, we're going to go back and make and put in some more little cards here, like we have on our first page. We've got some more tags, and I'm going to go back and pull one of these out and just show you that we're going to go back and put tags in there, so that large amount of glitter is going to get cut down to a little amount of glitter. Now I think I'm going to take 3 or 4 of these. Look how cute. I could use them all. Maybe I could use just a couple green ones. How about if I cut off just a couple of green ones and see if I like that? Just a little touch of bling in the corner. I like that. Now again, when I use these, check my glue. Yes, it's dry now. When I use these, this is another area that you might choose to use hot glue on. Personally, I would burn my fingers to death. I'm just going to put a little drop of glue on each one of these. And this is an area where my clips really come in handy. I take my little clip, clip it on there for a couple of minutes. Those aren't going to move until they're dry. That's where I use my clips. Now we're going to pull this off. That's not quite dry, but that's okay. It'll finish drying. They're stuck down real well now. And then I'm going to come back and, of course, use my one little row. And a lot of people use hot glue for this, and that's another good area to use hot glue because it gives you a slightly raised surface, which helps to get your tags to go in. So there we go. Now again, I would probably stick my clips back there for a while to just help hold things down, keep it from moving. And I'll use 2 or 3 of them, and that will help keep it from moving while it dries. That gives it a little extra time to dry, and I don't mind doing that. And then we'll let it sit. Eventually, we'll put one of our little specimen cards in there. Right now we can't because it'll pull up our envelope. I also have, from the same place, some larger ones that will go further in, but still not far enough to hold that. So we're just going to sit this aside like this and let this dry. And we're going to come back and do these in the next video. We're going to make specimen cards in the next video. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.